Support for WYES is made possible by Mary Lou Kristovich in memory of her husband, William Kristovich.
And welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, New Orleans jewelry designer Patrice McMurray, here to talk about the new location of Rhino Contemporary Craft Gallery, and that's right here in New Orleans. We should point out, welcome Patrice. Hello. Poppy Tucker, host of the radio program Louisiana Eats, airing twice weekly on WWNO Radio. Hello, Miss Poppy. Hi. Steppin Out theater critic Alan Mason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News. Welcome, Mr. Allen. And it's great to have him back. Singer and guitarist Billy Asperides, who will be performing with us later tonight with his Lagniappe band. Welcome, Billy.
Thank you.
Good to see you, kiddo. Hi. And first up, though, Poppy with our restaurant news.
Well, first we have a little bit of sad news.
Yes.
Because anybody who's a regular at the Crescent City Farmers Market will be missing Clara Garrica, who was the seafood vendor, the shining face you saw first, usually as you walked in the market. Clara sadly passed away unexpectedly in her sleep last week, and we're going to miss her. 17 years at the farmers market. That's the sad news. There's happy news from Emerald's corporate offices. Chef David Slater, who's been the executive chef for a long time at Emerald's restaurant, has been promoted, and he's now going to be head of culinary development at Emerald's corporate headquarters. So good for David. That made me so happy. And there is something that's going to start happening every month at Toups South. Chef Isaac Toups, I know there's a lot of people who love Isaac like I do. He's introducing the Counter Club. And this is an intimate monthly dinner series that's going to happen at Toups South on Aretha Castle Haley and Martin Luther King. And it's an off-menu dinner. It's basically, Isaac says that he's going to get out of the box, ditch the menu, and flex some of his off-kilter ideas. So this is going to take place every month on the third Thursday. And the first one is coming up next week on Thursday, September the 21st. And anybody who's been to Toups South knows that there's that great demonstration kitchen.
And it's part of SoFab.
It's part of SoFab. Exactly.
Set that stage.
And so the seating is very limited. So if you're interested, you've really got to sign up for these dinners, and you can just call and make the reservation at the restaurant. The dinners are $50 per person, which is going to include 4 courses, an amuse-bouche, and a welcome cocktail. And the first dinner is going to be a foul experience with his chef de cuisine, Seamus Rosiski, and they're serving a duck breast larb, which is a Lao salad with butter lettuce, minced duck breast, Thai chili, puffed rice, pickled quail, eggs with caviar. This is exactly Crazy Isaac. God only knows it's going to be delicious. That's all I know. And there'll be themes announced every month, but you won't find out what the dinner is till you get there that night. But of course, if you have any allergies, they just want to know up front. Then here is another incredible thing that you may not have heard about. There is a man who is from Senegal. His name is Serene Mbe. Tomorrow, we are telling his whole story on Louisiana Eats. I am an enormous fan of his. He's an incredible man. He is a sous chef at Commander's Palace, but his life story of the United States to Africa and back is amazing. And he has found such a close tie here in New Orleans since he's been here, because so much of our food, did you know that they have beignets in Senegal?
Nope.
He insists that beignets don't come from France, they come from Senegal. He's fascinating. So he's doing a pop-up dinner at SoFab in the Rouse's Innovation Kitchen on Saturday, September 30th. And it's $70 without wine $180 with. The menu is so interesting. It's going to be, the first course is fonio, I'm not even sure what that is, with caviar, watermelon, mint, peaches, pickled red onions, and a tamarind and peach puree. The second course is going to be a Senegalese gumbo, so we can taste what gumbo tastes like in Senegal. Seared redfish with a spicy pesto and tamarind jus, and a Thackeray pie, which is going to include shakari, raisin sour cream coulis, raspberry puree, and hibiscus blackberry sorbet. It is an honor to know Serene. Chef Tori says so. Everybody who knows him does. So go have dinner with him and meet this remarkable young man. Then, talk about remarkable, I finally ate at Pharmacy Nola. And it's on Bank Street. It's where Dis and Dem used to be. And there are two Wins, Shen and Hat, who are partners. They're not related. Both of their parents wanted them to become pharmacists. So they appeased the parents by opening up a restaurant, because that's what they really wanted to do, but they called it Pharmacy, F-H-A-R-M-A-C-Y. The food is so reasonable. It's all prepared fresh there. These little meat pies killed me. 7 pieces for $6.50. Outrageously delicious boudin balls. Wings with a choice of homemade sauces like jerk, garlic parmesan, Cajun, Vietnamese, and ICU. You know, it's right there by the hospital. You might need to go if you have enough of that. That's emergency room sauce made with North Carolina Reaper peppers that they make in-house. And that's the hottest pepper in the world. My crazy daughter can't get enough of them. Then mussels. I have to tell you, I think these are the best in town. Cajun, Asian, or garlic parmesan sauce, but I have to recommend the Asian ones. They're fabulous. They've got salads, tacos, wraps, even steak frite for just $13.99. On Mondays, the mussels are all half price. You can have your own mussels festival. They're open Monday through Saturday, 10:30 till 8:30, and they have a full bar. You'll really enjoy it. Give Pharmacy a try.
The setting is so intriguing. It's a shotgun house.
Yes.
And it's near, just in terms of map here, South Durgenois.
Yeah.
Durgenois and Bank Street.
Very
it's
near the
behind
hospital.
The hospital. Very hospital. Not too far from Tulane, but that's great. I'm glad. And those are good hours, too.
Oh, yeah.
Really
and you'll love it, I promise. The mussels. Yum.
Thank you so much. And Miss Patrice, very exciting for so many years. Rhino Gallery was at Canal Place with the big move, isn't it?
The big move. It was a monumental effort to get 26 artists to agree and to go out on quite a limb, you know, because the rents on Magazine are high. But we finally found the perfect place. Peggy Bishop and I were on a mission to find the perfect place to move to. And we closed Canal Place July 1st. And I had thought foolishly that it would only take a week or two to get it together, but it took us a whole month. But Peggy was in charge of the visual committee that actually hung everything and put the gallery right for us. It's a wonderful building. It was built in 1840, and it was a German bakery, and we still have the front of the oven in the back.
Oh, wow. So it's Magazine, and what is the side street?
Well, I think it's Josephine. It's a block and a half before Jackson, going uptown. Most people know it as being right beside Aiden Gill and Juan's Flying Burrito.
Like that kind of locator for you.
There's the front. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. It's huge and white, has a beautiful old tile floor, has pressed tin ceilings, and it's just filled with amazing art now.
And speaking of, you've got show and
right,
tell.
I have some great things. We have 6 new members since we left Canal Place, and this is one of our new members, Lizzie Carlson. Believe it or not, this is embroidery. It's a portrait of Alan Toussaint. Most of her portraits are local music icons.
It's amazing.
And,
that's embroidery.
Embroidery. And this is one of the great headpieces by Kathy Cooper Stratton. Perfect. One day I was working Rhino, and 4 elegant ladies came in. They were on their way to Galatoire's, and they bought 4 tiaras and 4 scepters for their lunch, and it's a hoot. And this is one of the wonderful dogs by Chris Minconi. Most of his are much bigger than this, but this was easy for me to bring. And then this is a wonderful goblet by Andrew Jackson Pollock, one of our younger members, but one of our best. And here we have a fabulous hand-painted silk scarf.
But she actually has one, so that's why she's okay.
Right.
Look at this.
This is by Kathy Shore, who's probably the most famous for doing the exquisite designs of the fabric for the Jazz Fest Hawaiian shirts. Now she's not doing that anymore, but she did that for many, many years. And we have a lot of her wall hangings. I mean, they're so wonderful. You hate to wear them.
And your own jewelry will be on
and
display
my jewelry
too.
is there.
Are you wearing
I'm
an original
wearing
Patrice
my own
McMurray?
jewelry and earrings. We have 10 jewelers working in everything from aluminum to gold and cloisonne, and most of them work in silver, but each one is completely different. And the great thing about Rhino is that anytime you go, it's run by artists. So there's 2 or 3 artists on staff, and when you buy anything, you get a hand-painted gift bag. And I'm in charge of that committee, too. And Kathy does some of our bags. Honestly, people say, oh, I'm going to take this bag home and frame it. Some of them are so amazing.
So do some of the members volunteer their time, or they coordinate?
It's all volunteer. We have no employees. We do everything from the accounting to the cleaning and everything in between. So it's a lot, but we're going to have a grand opening tomorrow night, Saturday the 16th, from 6 to 9 with live music by John Rankin and Don Vappy, who are fabulous together. And we'll have lots of champagne and lots of food.
Sounds great.
And on top of everything, it coincides with our 30th anniversary.
Oh, well, congrats.
Amazing.
Good news. And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Eduardo Jimenez named the literary figure who spent much of his time in New Orleans and in this Florida town. That was Key West, and the person was Tennessee Williams. Now tonight's question. To get from Audubon Park to City Park by streetcar requires rides on 2 different lines, and one has a spur. What are those lines? Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes, we have a t-shirt with the message, Drew Can Do, yes, from our friends at wearablevegetables.com. Also, a pair of free admission passes to either the Audubon Zoo, Aquarium of the Americas, or of course the Butterfly Garden and Insectarium, and a New Orleans Public Service Transit Token t-shirt as worn by WYES Associate Producer Burke Bischoff. And go to NewOrleansPublicService.com to see the new shirt line. And you can go to WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including an Honduran Independence Day demonstration, cooking demonstration with Chef Melissa Araujo and Amy Sins at Southern Food and Beverage tomorrow. And you can also link to the WYES YouTube channel to view our program. And now, Billy. Billy, it's a long way from William and the Conquerors, huh? This is the band that he was in high school.
Well, I'm great to be here. And it's, I'm blessed to be playing with the musicians I'm playing with now, because if it wasn't for them, people would think I was a stand-up comedian.
Oh, well, I know you play a lot at Bon Ton Roulette and, you know, around town, of course, but we're looking forward to next week's gig at Bon Ton Roulette. But how long have you been in bands over the years now?
Since I was in high school.
Since in high school.
My first, yeah. That was, William the Conquerors was my first high school band.
Now, you write a lot of the music too, huh?
The tune we're going to play tonight is a tune called Bank Account Blues.
But do you have any preferences in terms of the type of music, or just sort of general rock and roll, or what's your faves?
I love the New Orleans stuff, and I was blessed to be befriended by the Meters, and would watch them play, and they'd let me weasel my way on stage and play with them on occasion. And then when we were here back in November, Nancy McSween and I co-wrote a song with George Porter Jr. on his Funk and Go Nuts CD. But it was great being with them, because they would always, when you play with players that care, they always give you these little gems of wisdom that you carry with you and you don't forget.
Yeah. So, playing guitar, how did you get? Were you inspired by anybody on that, or how did you first start learning to play?
Well, my first instrument was a piano, and then I switched to the drums, and then I switched to the trumpet until I played trumpet from when I was 8. I still play the trumpet, but I stopped playing the trumpet at 16 and picked up the guitar. And
so
then
that's where you
kept And Patrice's husband, John, inspired me because he was.
Well, there you go, John
he's
Rankin, of course.
Such a kind and generous person, but just, you know, you hear somebody play and you see, gee, how did he do that? And you figure it out. And you watch people play and you learn to listen and hear things. And then I had a sax player in the band in California named Julian Vaught that had played with B.B. King and Irma Thomas and was an original member of the Flamingos when they did I Only Have Eyes for You. And he was a wealth of knowledge and taught me how to listen for keys, because he could hear keys.
Gee whiz.
And horn players have great ears like that.
Well, we're so thrilled that you and your band are with us tonight. And now we're going to let Billy get ready. Billy and the Lagniappe Band as they perform one of Billy's original compositions, Bank Account Blues. And we welcome band member Sherman Bernard on keyboard, Bruce Rayburn, of course, at Tulane on drums, Chris Sharkey on bass guitar, and Ted Hefko on sax. Let's take a look.
Bank account, leave town tonight. I'm gonna close my bank account, leave town tonight. Seems my baby hasn't been treating me right. Cigarettes in the ashtray, not my brand. Cigarettes in the ashtray, not my brand. Looks like my baby's holding another man's hand. I'm gonna close my bank account, leave town tonight. I'm gonna close my bank account, leave town tonight. Seems my baby hasn't been treating me right. Bank account, leave town tonight. I'm gonna close my bank account, leave town tonight. Seems my baby hasn't been treating me right. Down the road, I got my bags all packed, gonna head down the road. Don't know where I'm going, but I'm carrying a heavy load. I'm gonna close my bank account, leave town tonight. I'm gonna close my bank account, leave town tonight. Seems my baby hasn't been treating me right. Seems my baby hasn't been treating me right. Seems my baby hasn't been treating me right.
Billy Asperides and the Lagniappe Band. That's, of course, Le Bon Temps Roulé on Magazine Street next Friday starting at 10 p.m. And now, Alan.
Well, first, some sad news. You know, everybody was waiting for Mark Twain Tonight with Hal Holbrook. It was rescheduled at the Sanger Theater November the 2nd. Unfortunately, announcement came out that due to unseen conflicting events, you know, there is a speculation, of course, because he's 92 and his health crisis may be involved, but the Hal Holbrook show was canceled. But don't forget what Mark Twain once said himself: the reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. So let's hope he gets back if he is indeed ill. Meanwhile, while one star of stage and screen cannot be making it to New Orleans, there is another who will be, and that will be none other than Lou Grant himself, the Emmy Award winner, of course, Ed Asner, who you may recall from the voice of Up and as the old man, and you may remember him, of course, from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Ed Weinberger, a friend of his from TV, wrote a script about his own health crisis, and basically they got together, and this is the result: A Man and His Prostate. Yes, it's a funny and touching play, a one-man show, 2 nights only at Le Petit. The two Eds, by the way, are publishing a book soon called The Grumpy Historian, so we'll look forward to that too at Le Petit, October the 8th and the 9th. Now, let's get to the shows that are on the boards right now. One of Frank Lesser's greatest contributions to Broadway was his musical Guys and Dolls, with a book by Joe Swelling and Abe Burrows, and of course based on the stories of Damon Runyon. Almost everyone knows the story about the gamblers of Broadway and the mission dolls, if you will. This is the opening number of course, The Fugue for Tin Horns, which you see Mike Hawkins, and he says Nathan Detroit, and Preston Mesh as Benny Southstreet, and Adam Seagrave as Nicely Johnson. Sky Masterson is Joseph Moran, who, by the way, in real life is a medical student. He's a handsome leading man for Emily Bourne, who is the mission doll, Sarah Brown, from the Save a Soul mission. Emily has a fantastic voice and is really one of the highlights of the show. Nathan Detroit's love interest is Miss Adelaide, played by Allison Logan, who we see here along with her Hotbox Girls in A Bushel and a Peck. And David Hoover, of course, directed this. It's a beloved classic where the gamblers celebrate Nathan Detroit's oldest established permanent floating crap game in New York. Adam Seagrave also gets to steal the show as Nicely and Sit Down, You're Rockin' the Boat. You'll love that. And as someone who loves this show, I was really impressed with most of the performers who sing and dance very well. The two choreographers, Ashley Moran and Taylor Thomas Hoseman, did a very good job in Luck Be a Lady, for instance. But I have to give shout-outs to Wayne Gonsolin. He was the absolute best Arvide Abernathy I've ever seen. Of course, that's the grandfather to Sarah Brown. Now, if you want to get a chance to get out there, it's going to be running for the next couple of weeks, and I would really recommend it very highly. I would tell you, though, this was a little bit of a slight misfire for me. There were parts of the show that were a little uneven, especially compared to some of their landmark shows that they did, like Billy Elliot and How to Succeed in Business last year. But again, I would still recommend it. It's worth taking the kids to and talking about Guys and Dolls for the next few weeks. Now, the scenic artist of Guys and Dolls is also to be mentioned. She did a great job. Her name is Shelby Mack. And you may recall she starred in Sweet Charity last year at Rivertown in the Big Easy Award nominated role. Well, right now, I'm going to tell you that there is nobody in town whose star can ascend as high as Shelby Mack. She is one of the Victory Bells, and she is starring as Patty, along with her onstage sisters, Emily Guyan as Laverne and Skylyn Roussel as Maxine. Of course, we're talking about America's Wartime Sweethearts, the Victory Bells tribute to the Andrews Sisters. This is going on every Wednesday from now until November the 22nd. From songs like By Mirabis to Shane to Rum and Coca-Cola and a medley of polkas. The original show, written by Victoria Reed, is fantastic. The blend of 3-part harmony is absolutely exquisite. I don't think I've ever heard the Andrews Sisters sing better. And I got to tell you, these girls dance up a storm too, occasionally taking time to partner up with some of the gentlemen in the audience. Again, this is somewhat like the Stage Door Canteen of old. This show is seen every Wednesday. It's one of the best that the museum has ever put on stage, and they're bringing it back from a couple of years ago, so there you go. It comes with a delicious brunch or lunch that happens about 11:45. The show time is 1:45. Do not miss it. Again, America's Wartime Sweethearts, a tribute to the Andrews Sisters. Sometime, by the way, around the Clarence Thomas, Anita Hill hearings for the U.S. Supreme Court, you may recall David Mamet was fascinated with what was going on at the Playwright, and he began to write a play alleging improper connections between a college professor and a student. He wrote Oleanna as a result, again about an alleged instance of perhaps sexual exploitation between a college co-ed and her professor. The term Oleanna is sort of an obscure one. It refers to a region in Pennsylvania that proved to be really ill-suited for farming in the 19th century. And again, I guess in a sense, Mamet was saying that this particular person who's the professor is somewhat ill-suited to his profession. James Yergin and Ashton Ackridge play the two characters in this short 3-scene play now showing at the inaugural offering of the Mighty Lincoln Company. That's at the Valiant Theater and Lounge. So essentially, John, who's the professor, has his chances of tenure shortened and his attempt to buy a house for his family because of these allegations from Carol, which he attempts initially to ignore and then can no longer ignore. Ackridge is absolutely tremendous as the very crafty, sly student who uses the system to kind of put the professor on edge. Her allegations seem to be an attempt to basically save her from falling grades. Again, Yergin's terrific too as an overbearing elitist. I would recommend this if you want to see a really very nicely done, well-directed play by John Neisler. Again, that's going to be playing through September the 23rd.
And that's an old Araby.
That right on the parish line. When you go right past the Jackson Barracks on St. Claude, there you are.
There it is. All right, thank you, Alan. And now it's time for picks. Patrice.
I would recommend everyone trying to go to our grand opening tomorrow night, 6 to 9 at the New Gallery 2028 magazine.
All right, great. Poppy.
If you love Horst Pfeiffer's fettuccine like I do, it's Fettuccine Frenzy at Middendorf's every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday through September.
All right, thank you. Alan.
Well, I have to mention next Friday night for one night only, along with Seth Rudetsky on the piano and the mic, is Tony Award winner Faith Prince. She won, of course, as Miss Adelaide from Guys and Dolls with Nathan Lane. You know, you don't want to miss her. She played the replacement for Miss Hannigan and Annie not too long ago. Faith Prince, a great voice, and it'll be a wonderful night.
All right, Billy.
We'll be at Le Bon Ton Roulette next Friday, the 22nd of September, and then once again for a Halloween celebration on the 27th of October.
Okay, great. Lots of fun. And time for my picks. The 4th annual New Orleans Irish Fest will take place at the Kingsley House tomorrow, and that's from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Enjoy Irish food and music for just $15. The Barman's Fund of Louisiana is teaming with the House of Blues to host a Hurricane Harvey relief benefit concert on Sunday. Headliners will include Big Frida, Fred LeBlanc, and Irvin Mayfield, and it will start at 6 p.m. Looking ahead, local author Patty Friedman will be discussing and signing her book, An Organized Panic, at Garden District Bookshop on Britannia. That's next Thursday. Congratulations, Patty. That's really great news. And starting September 21st at 6 p.m. And Armand St. Martin in concert next Friday at 2 o'clock at the U.S. Mint on Esplanade in the wonderful Performing Arts Center, and that's on the 3rd floor. Finally, NOMA will be hosting its Love in the Garden, that fundraiser, next Friday at 7 p.m., and that is to honor and benefit the Sydney and Walda Best Off Sculpture Garden. And what a great event, and what a very, very special place that is, too. Thank you all so very much. I love the show and tell. AJ, come back with some more things, and all very reasonably priced, too. We've got to mention that. But thank you. Good to see you, Billy. And happy birthday. And thank you all for watching. Good night.